Well, the temperature's up in the 90s again, and that means I gotta go on the roof, climb a ladder, burn my hands on the shingles, and work on the swamp cooler. There's gotta be a better way. That thing's full of scale, lime, calcium, rust. Every year we're trying to fix a water leak here or there. Lots of little pieces that need to be replaced, such as the floater, the bearings, the big AC motor back there. Not to mention, you've also got to change these filters every couple of years. That gets annoying. Dealing with hard water out here. Oh, it's a bit precarious when you're up here on a sloped surface on a windy day like this. So that's another point. It ain't safe. The only nice thing about swamp coolers is that you get to spend a little bit of time peeking into your neighbors' backyards. The funny thing is, I used to live in this house right here, and if you look on the roof, that's a refrigerated air unit. So why bother with swamp coolers when you can, for about 5 times the cost, cool your house using that? Well, I think I've got a better solution for you right now, and I'll show you that right here. It's hot today. It's 95 degrees outside. Not much cooler in the garage, to be honest. I can leave the door to the house open, and that kind of lets the draft into here from the swamp cooler, but it's not a good solution because it's letting flies in and it's not cooling the house as efficiently because there's a lot of rooms to cool. This summer I've got a lot of work to do in the garage here on the old Volvos, so I'm going to be sweating and drinking a lot of water, but I was also hoping for a solution, and as the impeccable timing of product reviews comes, I was sent this portable air conditioner and heater by a company called NewAir. And apparently it can cool a lot of space. So you know the reasons why a swamp cooler is not a good solution, and leaving the door closed and putting box fans in this door here isn't really gonna help. This is our best solution. Let's get at it. We're gonna open the box, show you what it comes with, how to set it up, and then watch the temperature in here drop to a nice and comfortable 72 degrees. Of course, I'll have to close the garage door, which means I'll be using these lights, but in the summer, even with the door closed, it still gets way too hot in here. Got instructions here with how to use the adapter, the window spacers, the screws, the screen, and then our full instruction here with the owner's manual. Different programmable modes, a fault checklist, maintenance instructions, draining the unit, etc., etc. This is not evaporative cooling, this is air conditioning. But there's still going to be a tray where moisture from the air has sort of accumulated and will drip. Your refrigerator has the same thing. There will be a tray at the bottom that will catch the water. I'm going to read through these instructions and then we're going to set her up. I don't have a window in the garage, but I do have a door. We'll use that as our heat vent for the cooler. Reading through this has actually been a lot of fun because there is a very interesting feature here. The energy efficiency boosting function. I'm excited to see how exactly this works, but it does take a water tank in addition to the rotary compressor that pumps the R410 refrigerant through the system. You're gonna have a water tank that I only imagine utilizes the best benefits of evaporative cooling to save you money on your energy bill and conserve the environment. A couple of best practices here for water drainage. You can hook up a drain hose instead of using the drain port, but it will have a light that comes on that says water level is full if you don't want to have it hooked up to a drain to drain in real time. I live a mile high, and where I live, it's on average 0% humidity. It gets really hot in the summers and very cold in the winters. So this is a unit that I definitely want to have heating and cooling from. For the heater, you still need to have this vent hose hooked up because it will take the cold air out instead of my old radiating type heaters, which would just glow red and have warm air coming through. The other problem I had with those is that the entire garage is on one circuit breaker. Long story longer, I kept flipping the circuit breaker, and this thing here takes a maximum of 12 amps, 12.7 amps for the cooling and 11.4 amps maximum for the heating. That's 1400 watts on the cooling side and 1200 watts on the heating side. So it's going to be fun to see just how efficient this is compared to the other system, because it's actually replacing the cold air with hot air in the winter and replacing the hot air with cold air in the summer. There's a remote control, a lot of self-diagnoses, activated charcoal filter, which is this guy right here. And let's just jump right into it. If you're tactile like me, you're gonna really love this. Oh yeah. There's got to be an ASMR channel out there for stuff in the garage, like just wrenches hitting each other and people swearing when you lose your 10mm socket. I will take this time to mention that my work in the garage is my job. That is what I am paid to do, and I need to have a livable environment because my goodness does it get bad. The bottom of the box will separate. I did not know that, so I didn't have to actually lift it out, and thankfully I'm so strong. It says 75 pounds gross weight. Subtract all the accessories and styrofoam, you're looking at probably around 65 pounds for the unit itself. One of the best things is it does have wheels. And she glides. I have not been excited this much for product review in a while. I don't like having cables in the way, so thankfully they gave us a space for our cable to reel up into. It's a very heavy duty cable. It's got a circuit breaker on the back side of it as well, one of those GFCIs. We have our filter removed here. We're gonna pop open the retainer for the screen. That's where we're going to install our deactivated carbon filter. Oh look, a regular air filter. This will trap dust and pollen. Here, same story. Now let's take a look at our water tank. I don't wanna make this video too long, but I do wanna give you a very in-depth view of how this unit works and how you can set it up. Okay, it's a nice little push to lock. I like that. Here's our water tank. There is a little valve on the bottom so that it will fill into the tray. A separate tray from the water collection tray that we were just looking at. So this is to maximize the efficiency of cooling. Because it's not very big, and I don't know how long it will take for this to actually drain when it's in full cooling mode, I'm not going to use tap water. Municipal city water is pretty hard, and I don't want to cause any scale or calcium to clog up any of the ports on here. So we're going to be using filtered water. You know, it's cheap, and it looks like this is about a half a gallon, but that's not needed to cool. That's just an extra add-on. If you live somewhere where there's high humidity, I don't know how well that will work in Florida, but out here in the high desert of New Mexico, it's going to be just fine. California should be just fine. Another thing to note, it says in the instructions that if it reaches optimum cooling temperature where it does not need to run the compressor or the heater, for example, if you're setting it to 72, the room reaches 72, gets down to 71. Even if it gets lower and cooler than you are setting it to cool, the fan will continue to run to be cycling the air, but it will turn off the compressor. So if you're setting it to 75 degrees in the winter and it's heating the room, as it gets up to 75, optimum temperature, even 76, it will not turn off the fan, it will just turn off the heater element. Now, next thing to do is set up our vent. Just for the sake of demonstrating here, I'm going to board up the door real briefly, and I've still got the screen door on the other side. So it's gonna be enough protection, but I wanna get an idea of how this works before I start replacing my door. And we will now put our unit up to it with the accordion tube, which just threads into these little pieces here. And then we'll turn it on, close the door, and see how it cools in the next couple of hours. Okay, we are off. You want a short pipe, as short as possible, so when I get the actual door in place, I will probably have the hole up here. Now, the next thing to do, of course, is close the front door and take care of all the packaging material here, because it's very well packaged, and then check on the temperature later. Right now, it's reading 93 degrees. Woohoo! The buttons are nice. Timer here for hours, up to 24 hours. Great. Temperature is set to 75 degrees. It's really great. You could just set it to auto, put it at a temperature you want, and leave it all year round. To refrigerate the air or to heat the air, you have all your choices here. It's 9 a.m. It's a comfortable 73 degrees inside the garage, so we'll leave it on auto, and we'll give her a real test of a full day with the garage door closed. We'll see how well it performs in the next couple of hours in maintaining a cool temperature inside of this big garage. Here, it's 33 degrees outside, which is 91 Fahrenheit. It's a hot day, and I'm not surprised that it's only cooling down to 83. This garage is not insulated very well. However, it's still kind of comfortable, so she's been working all day, and I'm proud of her. I'm also proud of everybody here for not turning it off while I was away. I'm glad I've got this unit. I would definitely recommend it, and if you've got a better insulated garage than I do, you have some trees around the property especially that will shade you, or you're not in direct sunlight, because this is the southwest corner. It's going to get sun all day. I definitely recommend this. Thanks for watching. Any questions, go ahead and check out the links down below. I'll put the link for the website where you can get all the details on the product, as well as for other people's reviews of the same unit.